Well, good morning, or whatever time of the day it is for you. It's March 27th, 2022. I'm Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation, an exercise that I do to remember my 7 objectives for life and my 30 principles, and to see how I did applying those yesterday and to plan for today. First, last night and yesterday. Man, was I tired last night. It was an average Saturday. Oh, with the exception of the garage sailing, right? So, yeah, I did all my normal stuff, my chores. We didn't go shopping. We're going to do that today. We're going to go drive down to Irvine and do our shopping today. But in the morning, we got up pretty early and we went out for a block party. Not a block party, a neighborhood garage sale, but very extensive for the whole community that we live in, which surrounds a golf course. And it was organized by a realtor in the area who had a stand set up with coffee and donuts. And man, what an ambitious person, ambitious young man, I might say. Probably looks like he's in his mid-30s. Getting to that age now where people in their mid-30s seem like young men and women to me. Old whippersnappers. So they even had a map of all the houses in the neighborhood. Now, we weren't involved, even though it was our neighborhood. We would have nothing to sell. I teased Yumiko that I would open the garage, back one of the dogs, back my motorcycle into the garage and put a for sale sign on it, $5,000. Take it all. We have a garage sale with one thing in it. We tooled all around, and we found some real fun stuff. We got some neat items. Yeah, there we did that. That was good. That probably wore me out. I did well over 12,000 steps yesterday. 10,000 is my goal, average. So it was a good day. I just wore myself out though. But I stayed up late too. I stayed up till like 10 o'clock, which is really late for me. And then I last couple of nights, a sleep of death. You know the type, right? Or you're just so absolutely gone. I did wake up to go to the bathroom, but otherwise just absolutely gone. And I woke up tired. Go figure. But I didn't wake up stressed, even though something happened at work on Thursday that warranted stress. Oh, I left the dang window open. It's a strategy here in the desert, open the window. It's getting hot in the afternoon, even though it's only the end of March. Open the windows at night, let the cool night air come in. Deserts cool down quick. And shut them all and, preserve it for the daytime. I did have an opportunity to use the Good Life a little bit. I'm not a shopper. I don't enjoy that. And about 3/4 of the way through our garage sale shopping, I'd had enough. But I was with Emily and Yumiko, and for the first quarter of the garage sale, of the neighborhood sale, we just walked around. But then it got hot, and the distance was far, so we came home, hopped in the car, and drove around. And 20 years ago, I would have made sure that everybody understood that I'd had enough. Yesterday, I don't think Yumiko and Emily even got a clue, even though I'd had enough. And I'm getting better at that, at just keeping my family face. There's a new term. Keeping my family. What is that? That is the appearance, demeanor, action, energy level, relative to allowing to being engaged with my family and ensuring that everybody else can continue to have a good time, even if I'm worn out. Now, I won't carry that on for, too long, because if I'm a part of the family too, and if I've had enough, then after a while, then I can disengage myself. So, well, that's how it feels in the moment, right? You feel tangled up in it. When we started the big neighborhood sale, I was engaged. Later, I felt like I was entangled, but not like it would have 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I would have kind of crossed the line. Like yesterday, okay. In the evening, I went to. I wanted to get a frame. I'm hanging like Dr. Sagan here. I'm hanging pictures of my favorite authors all around my office here, and I wanted to get a frame. And I went to Michael's, which is here in Menifee, and they didn't have the type that I wanted. So I went to Hobby Lobby down in Temecula. Got in trouble for that later, for going there without the family. Mock trouble. Pardon me. And as I was walking through Michael's looking for what I needed, excuse me, this is so rude, I'm sorry. Because it wasn't a normal frame. It is actually a special type of frame for holding a degree. Kind of lift a flap and slide it in. Hang on, it looks nice. And I was having a hard time finding that. Anyway, I was up by the front of the store and going on, and Hobby Lobby is a very big store. It's like a supermarket for home decor, not home decor, hobbies, supermarket but mostly women's hobbies. They have some models in there, but there's no radio controlled parts and no radio controlled cars or airplanes in there. They did have Estes rockets, though. Anyway, I diverged. I almost intersected. I just almost crossed paths with probably early 30s, early 30s couple, man and woman, and she was pushing the cart, he was on the phone, and as they went right in front of me, he was talking loudly, and he said to somebody on the phone, "Yeah, we just came in the store." This was up by the front of the store near the entrance. "We just came in the store," and they got a little farther, and he says, "And I sure don't want to be here." And she pushed the car. She says, "Huh?" Now, that's what I mean. When I was in my early 30s, I would have agreed to go to do something. And then as soon as I'd had enough of that something, everybody I was with, my family in particular, that was it. Actually, it's interesting how you're more behaved with friends, right? Interesting. If it was with my friends, I probably would have kept my game face on a little longer, not the family face, my friend's face on a little longer. But that man, he made sure that his family understood, his wife understood that he didn't want to be there, which that's a form of the Feast of Offal, which it kind of spoils it for her, right? A little bit, right? She was visibly disappointed, even though it's a stereotypical thing that men don't like to go to those places. Still, you get the idea. I don't really do that anymore. And I was really good at it yesterday, I think so. Although I'll bet if I talked to Yumiko, she probably could tell. But she also could tell that I was making an effort, a good effort, to not be that guy anymore. I found things to engage me, and they were not things like standing at the edge, because it was neighbored one house after another in the garage, or right in front of the garage in the driveway was where it was. One thing that I could do when I had enough, is to stand in the periphery of the garage or up by the sidewalk with my phone, or staring into space with my hands clasped behind my, all these things are throwing out symbols. These are Feast of Offal things, throwing out messages to the world that, I've had enough, I want to leave. And I didn't do any of that. I either engage myself with whatever knickknacks were available, or if the person that was having the sale, because this is the end of the day, so there weren't a lot of people. If they were so inclined, I would engage them with chit chat. After all, we're new to the area. There's lots of things to learn, and we were seeing new parts of our community that we had never been to. I did get into one. I did get into it with one though. I mean, I didn't get into it, but I stuck my foot into my mouth because I accidentally said something that triggered a political response. Now, the people in this area are, by and large, of a different political bent than my family, and boy, did I get an earful. And I just stood, I chose not to engage in that. Just kind of, yeah, well, okay. So I was able to keep my family face and my community face. Not that I'm against engaging in political stuff. That just wasn't the right place to do it. We're going to be there for a few minutes. These people I don't even know. We're just, they probably thought I was one of them. It was curious, but I don't. But I'm pleased with myself. So yesterday was a good day in that capacity, and that was the one instance of engaging in the good life. Was I averted the Feast of Offal. I also did a really good job of one thing slowly all day. There should be something in my good life meditation, in my good life creed for gratitude, because I sure was grateful for the delicious dinner that Yumiko made last night. And we had a great conversation with Emily during dinner. She's growing into a fine person. Very proud of that young woman. Okay, let's do my good life meditation. My 7 objectives are as follows. To always have my life in a situation where I'm ready to die, having my finances, my relationships, and my life's work in order. I want to be constructive with my time every day. In particular, I want to make sure that I'm at least do, in addition to my work and my family activities, that for myself, I want to release one video. That could be this one. I want to write in my journal, and I want to read at least 10 pages every day. I wonder if I should add walk 10,000 steps. I should probably add that. Putting together a little life objective thing, a daily objective thing. I want to work hard on my good life creed to maintain these objectives and principles, and add or subtract as necessary. I want to react well, like I did yesterday, to the world, no matter what's happening inside here, and the rest too, and do things that make the world a little better every day. Oh gosh, I saw just the most beautiful family yesterday at Hobby Lobby checking out. There was 2 in front of me, 2 men. I mean, not 2 men, a couple. That'd be fine if it was 2 men, a man and a woman in this case. Like who am I to say? And they had 4 children. Probably the oldest was a girl, probably 13, 14 maybe, and the youngest was a toddler, maybe. Our 2-year-olds toddlers, I don't know, 2 or 2.5, 3, something like that, in that range, and then a couple in between. The interesting thing was, and I knew they were a family because the children were all calling them mom and dad or mommy and daddy. And happy children. Really, really, and the older sister, Onea-san, was very engaged with the kids and interacting, helping mom, who was checking out, and dad was keeping the little ones entertained. There was display. This is like furniture and craft displays. He was up there, entertaining the kids, walking with the baby, talking stuff, interacting with the other ones. The one little boy was being silly as boys, or little kids do. It's getting to be Easter. There was a giant egg, and he was announcing to the world and the store and his family, "Mommy, Daddy, the world's biggest egg. The world's biggest egg." And Dad's like, "Yeah, that is a big egg." Mom's over there doing their paying there. Yeah, whatever. It takes forever at Hobby Lobby. I don't know what. Every transaction is, requires, a blessing from the Vatican or something. This beautiful family. And then it just kind of dawned on me. Like, I didn't even notice it at first. And then it just kind of dawned on me. Oh my gosh. They're all different races. Except Mom and Dad, who are your average white people. Oh wow. This is a created family, an adopted family, or I don't know what the right term is. Or, clearly that's not their biological kid. These are not their biological kids. And it was interesting because it was like a little I don't know, hope this doesn't come off strange, but it was like a little United Nations. I mean, literally, the kids were clearly from different parts of the world, a very mixed bag. But given that they were calling these adults Mom and Dad, Mommy and Daddy, indicated to me that they were a family. What a loving family. There's a genuine type of a smile on a child. Gulp. I say gulp. I gulp because, for several reasons. There's a genuine type of smile that really reveals everything. And I saw that smile from the little one all the way through to the older sister, the big sister. I was really moved to that. Standing there in that line, 2 back, some tears came to my eyes. Such a beautiful sight. And I wish I could have, I didn't say anything, but I wish I could have, I feel like what it is when you get to be an old person and you say things that are maybe inappropriate. Old people do that. I feel like I might be getting to that age. I wanted to tell them that they have a beautiful family. I was really moved by that. And the reason I was gulping earlier was I was wondering, how much opportunity I gave my own daughter to have that genuine smile. I certainly gave it my all. But that was a very selfless family, or a pair of adults who are probably teaching their kids to be the same. So that's one of my objectives, is to make the world a better place. And that was a fine example of just such a thing. The next objective is to recognize my true limits and my true opportunity. And then finally, my last objective is to do just one thing at a time, and to do that thing slowly. Now for my principles. These are the principle of war, to always be fighting to destroy what I think is true. Because if I can show that it's wrong, then I'm better off. And likewise, what other people tell me is true that seems to be important. Number 2 is the principle of reason, and the sub-principles of honesty, objectivity, and doubt, which are what I use in that aforementioned war. Then comes the principle of the homunculus, the idea that my consciousness is something trapped between my ears, peeking out behind my eyes. That's all I get. I won't live on forever. And then the principle of the Anchorhold, the further suggestion that my consciousness and yours are trapped in a way, as I mentioned, but can't even connect with others because of this great gap and void between the seat of consciousness here and your seat of consciousness there. Likewise, my wife and daughters. And then the home of good and evil. The suggestion that right and wrong are opinions that we hold and maintain. They don't exist independent of us. And then after that is purpose. And the principles of biology, virtue, and mission. My purpose is my family, to be a good man, and to share the message of going alone. Excuse me. And then the atomic principle. Everything is made of bits and pieces, flowing and changing, forever transforming. Pardon me. And then the principle of nature. Everything has some particular nature, and it's good to recognize what that is. Like, for example, it's the nature of Hobby Lobby. I did that yesterday. Well, before I noticed that family, I was waiting for a long time in that line. It's the nature of the Hobby Lobby checkout to take a long time. I don't know why it is, but it just is. And then the pirate ride, the suggestion that free will is an illusion. The next principle is maturity, and the sub-principles of wisdom and fortitude. We are mature when we wisely remember our successes and failures and have the strength to improve upon the latter and avoid the former, or reverse. Next is the social principle. We human beings need other human beings. We are creatures of society, creatures of one another. Then comes public speaking. The suggestion to be very careful about what I say and how I communicate and what words I use, and to never gossip. Then comes just temperance, and the sub-principles of suffering, simplicity, and apathy. Because we suffer when we deny ourselves what we want, which is what temperance is, denying ourselves. And then a simple life is a temperate life, and we can use apathy to address the things that are outside of our control. I didn't get really a chance to use apathy much yesterday. It's one I should probably try to enlist more often. And next comes the horror show. Life is an absolute, terribly scary place. So much terrible stuff happening. And if it's not happening to you or me right now, just wait a little bit. It'll come. It's not a lot of us that get to die gently in our old age in our sleep. At least I don't think so. What do I know? Okay, next comes after the horror show comes that which must be borne, which is the fact of the horror show, plus all of the responsibilities that we've taken on in our life. And then the Feast of Offal, like I mentioned before, which is the, not feeling good and letting the whole world know about that, which is like throwing, the vomit on people. And then sometimes they do the same back at us, and we and it gets in our mouth, and we swallow it down and gets sick by the process. That's what the Feast of Offal is, and I don't want to be a part of that. Distraction is next. We spend our lives distracting ourselves from the apparent emptiness of the universe. And then after distraction comes, what comes next? Oh, agency and the great indifference, which is what we're trying to distract ourselves from, some of us. The fact of the empty universe, a universe without God. We don't want to see that. So we don't look. Next comes the best seat in the house. To not want to be anyone else or be anywhere else or be doing anything else, but to be okay where I am, who I am, what I'm doing. And then the Path of Wildness, which is a way to create chapters in life by recognizing its time, disentangling ourselves from our current life, but before doing that, setting up for the next stage of life, and then disentangling, and then moving on. And it doesn't have to be a wholesale change. It could be a psychological change. The important thing is that if we're so inclined, if we don't do it, we'll probably regret it later. Some of us are not so inclined. Next comes the risk of avoiding risk. The recognition of the easy things to address in life, easy, so to speak, compared to the deep one. Easy things like education, career, home and family, and retirement. And those are all hard things, but they're easy insofar as almost everybody supports our attempts to get these. And there's whole institutions set up to help us. The hard one is finding ourselves, so to speak, and becoming the man or woman that we dream of being, of the life we want to live. Having that experience, at least. The decade of the 20s is a good time for it. Although it can happen anywhere along the way. Next comes sin and damnation. And the sins in my life, which, if we engage in them, lead to a consequent damnation. These sins are falsity, being untrue, credulity, believing things too easily, hope, which is a powerless want, faith, which is believing things where the fact of the belief is the evidence that we need to believe, which is circular, authority, believing something because someone in a position of seeming power and consequence tells us it's true. Dogma, believing things because of tradition or the weight of an institution or a heavy book. And then finally, gossip. I don't want to engage in any of these things, so I watch out for them carefully. Next comes complete oblivion, the reminder that death is absolute. We don't have a soul. There appears to be no God. We better do the best we can with the life we've got. We won't be given all those things. That it doesn't appear that we'll see our loved ones ever again after death. We'll have no chance to reconcile our differences with them, and justice won't be applied beyond the pale of life. Because there's no justice giver, there's no justice applier, and we won't even be around to have a justice mean anything or apply it anyway. Next comes the great life adventure, one or more experiences in life that kind of help to form our story. And then the season of philosophy, a time to record what we've learned along the way. And then the bullseye, or not the bullseye aim, the season of philosophy. Yeah, it is the bullseye aim. Shooting for the mark, but you're really missing. And then the uphill climb, life is a steady up, 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 go. And then after the uphill climb comes the arena and utility, keeping the principles handy like tools on a tool belt as we move through life. And then after arena and utility comes, what comes next? But yeah, nothing is enough. And, well, almost nothing. And then finally, the last one is the principle of fun. Reminder to have a good time. Okay, that's my good life creed. Now, plan for the day. Chores are done. I took my allergy medicine. It should be kicking in shortly. I'll get up, I'll close the window. I'm going to read the Bible. I'm going to read the Song of Solomon, or Song of Songs as it's called in the NIV version, because I always read the King James edition and the NIV edition together every morning. I'm going to read chapter 2 this morning of that. Then I'm going to come back over here. Well, then I'll update. I'll have the thumbnail and everything on the computer. Then I'll come back over here and I'm going to read 10 pages of my book. And then I'll get up, and if I can have a moment, I'll do my journal entry. Then I'll go and feed the dogs and do all of that and start the day. And then Yumiko and I will head out. And I think we'll have breakfast at Corky's, which we'd love to do. Or maybe we'll go to Yellow Basket. We'll see. Anyway, hope you all have a good day. Be safe, but not too safe. Take care.